Hey, it's great to have you with us. Even if you're watching this video at live right now or maybe later, I'm sure you're going to get some value. The topic for today is loss to payoff. Okay. And how do you reach from the loss to the payoff? Well, what do you mean by loss? Anything that you lost, financial loss, loss of a friend, loss of a relationship, loss of your house or a property, loss of your possession of any kind. And it's not easy to tolerate. It's not easy to handle that. Most of us hate the loss, especially if it is sudden and uninvited. And a lot of us have gone through in recent times some other the losses, especially the loved ones. We've lost so many loved ones, so many known and unknown people, and people are yet recovering, coming to terms with. Most people eventually compromise because there is no other choice. There's nothing much that you can do. So you reconcile, but that's not uh, what it is. It doesn't leave you in a better space. It probably leaves you with a scar, with a lot of unhealthy emotions still pending to be dealt with. And it also makes you sometimes very, very insecure because it's not about the loss, but it's about how you felt after the loss. And you wouldn't like to go and let that happen once again to you. And you would like to prevent losses of any kind at any cost. And the whole attempt makes you so possessive, so clingy, so cautious, so uncomfortable that you forget to enjoy what you're likely to lose once again. You know, life is unpredictable. The only certainty is certainly uncertainties. So nothing can be predicted. You never know. Today, I'm taking this live on YouTube and Facebook and several groups. I'm not sure if I'm there tomorrow, even though I've committed the whole month that I will be there. However, the greater plans are much more powerful than my plans, isn't it? So anything can happen anytime for any reason. And we need to face that fact. Even if we want, we cannot create certainties of any kind, any moment. And yet, we need to learn to deal with it. So, how? Make 100% of whatever's available to you. Most of the time, when we find it very difficult to handle a loss, is when you haven't even enjoyed what you had. And it's kind of a perpetual loop because if you haven't enjoyed, you can't handle the loss. When you have the losses, you can't enjoy what you already have because you become insecure and the cycle repeats. The idea is to heal in such a way that your attention after proper resolution goes to the rewards. So, rewards are more important to us. And when we recognize that what did I achieve after losing, and if that convinces you, you'll be able to handle losses in much better way. I'm not talking about intellectual reconciling. I'm talking about reconciliation at the soul level, at your heart level, where you feel, aha, okay, maybe that's what it was. See, the life is definitely now better. It takes a long time for some people, and for some people, it takes a shorter time. I'm going to give you the roadmap on how to go about it and how to do it. And that is with the help of chakra knowledge. So, what is the chakra knowledge? The chakra knowledge, we know that we have 7 major chakras, which are like milestones for anything and everything. Even if you want to cope up with the loss, the chakra knowledge will help you. The first loss is that at the root chakra level, especially if you've lost somebody's life because of the death, or you've lost physical property, immovable property, or you've lost a relationship in such a way that you're not going to be in physical proximity anymore. You've lost a job. The first chakra that gets hit is the root chakra. And because the root chakra gets hit, sometimes people even feel so depressed that they feel suicidal. If you keep preventing yourself from committing suicide or hurting yourself or taking punishment or revenge on yourself, it's not going to help anymore. You need to quickly focus on the next chakra. And that next chakra is Sacral Chakra, where the joy and pleasure prevails. So you'll have to open up yourself to the possibility of entertaining yourself in some or the other ways. Force yourself to do that. If not, there's a possibility that you will succumb to a lot of pain, emotional pain. So now, first is a disbelief that maybe it didn't happen to me. I don't agree. I don't believe. Escapism. Then coping up at the physical level, and then you go through a lot of emotional hurts and pains, expressed as well as unexpressed. Some people have this grief which can go on for years, and people get stuck over there. Third phase is trying to control your feelings. So you feel sad, you feel hurt, then you feel angry, then you feel sad. The control game goes on for a very long time, and that can be handled if you take charge of your responses and your emotions at that phase. Then comes the next phase where you spend better part of the time in forgiving yourself and forgiving others. There are so many things that you remember that I could have done this better, or I would have handled this better. And yet you may not be able to do it very easily and carefully for yourself. And eventually the resolution comes when you truly manage to forgive the person who's gone, and or forgive whatever has gone from you, and forgive yourself for not being able to do anything about that. And also forgive people who were responsible for your losses. That's when you will feel much easier on yourself. After that, you start expressing effectively. Okay. Understanding why things happen. Start talking it out. When you talk out, you feel much more at ease, right? So that's a throat chakra phase. When you eventually honor the universe's way, honor people's choices, honor people's attitude or decisions. When you honor that, then you can move on to the next level where you see the greater design. And when you see the greater design, the greater plan, all that takes a little time, because most of the time you see the greater designs and greater plan and the merit of whatever has happened in retrospect. Only when people reach the throat chakra and above, they'll be able to see the merit in all that has happened. And that is the payoff I'm talking about. There's always a payoff. There's always a reward in all that has happened to you or happening to you. So the faster you reach to the reward point, in a true sense, easier it would be for you to handle your losses. And if you manage to cross even that, you would know that how, at some level of your being or your existence, you co-created that loss. And when you understand that you are the designer of that loss, you hold no grudges against anyone. You have no emotions adversely affecting you. You completely resolved, and your focus remains on the reward and the brilliance that the loss has offered you. So the faster you move on to the next level of healing, it would be easier. It goes from one level to the other. Now, you can listen to this recording once again. If at all you have lost, you would know at what level you're still stuck. Are you still coping up with the physical loss? Are you coping up with the emotional pains and physical pains? Are you still coping up with powerless and helpless feeling and the blame game? Are you still coping up with walling up and need for forgiveness? Are you still coping up with feeling low about it, dishonored about it? Or are you still coping up with the whole metaphysical game and trying to figure out why me and why this happened to me? Check it out. Once you understand that, then you can take one step at a time and start healing. Come to some resolution vis-a-vis physical loss, then resolve your pains, then resolve by taking charge of your life, resolve through forgiveness, resolve through communication and honoring all that is, and resolve through greater wisdom. Now, sounds very easy when I talk about that, right? But it takes quite a bit of effort to eventually heal the loss. I wish nobody goes through the pain and trauma of the losses. And yet, the fact is, we all have such experiences sometimes or the other in life. And the earlier you get ready, the earlier you get prepared, the better it is. And remain open to the transience, the transient phases, the transient nature of life, because that is one of the truths that we have to face in the life. Having said that, nothing is permanent. So even the pain and the sheer agony that one goes through after a loss is never a permanent thing unless you hold on to that. Eventually, the time is the greatest healer. Every wound heals. All those emotional wounds also eventually heals, and you're going to heal. You're going to rise beyond. You're going to be resolved. You can emerge to be a much better person than you were there. A lot of people eventually grow as a wiser, stronger, and much more spiritual after certain losses. So there is always a gift. The faster you recognize, the better it is for you. How can we reach there in minutes? If you're actually ready, you can reach there to the resolution points in minutes, because I've helped some people doing that. And if you're not yet ready, maybe you can go to the next level of the pain management or the loss management, as I explained, based on chakras. So never kind of get dissuaded with that. Keep working on it till the time you reach to a level where you can see the brilliance and where you can see how perhaps you had systematically planned it. Now, if I tell anybody that, oh, you had planned that loss, they're going to give me a slap and say, hey, why should I do that? You think I'm a mad? Why would I, plan this loss? However, when you totally heal and when you increase your awareness, you can see for yourself that how systematically you invite it in some or the other way. However, you don't have to really blame yourself right now. You don't have to do anything. Just work with the level at which you are and heal yourself so that you can go to the next level of your consciousness and evolution. If needed, take help of a radical facilitator, because here things are such personal and intimate that at times it's difficult to do self-healing, though I always promote self-healing. But these are the times when sometimes somebody holding your hand and assisting you would be very, very comforting. And it might be needed at times, right? So let's go for a recitation. We'll do radical recitation. I will be saying few statements which will add to your healing efforts. And slowly and gradually you'll start healing. Think of a person or whatever material thing you have lost and you're still coping up with, and recite after me. I'm going to go a little slow so that you can recite after me too, right? Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in a lot of positive energy through your nose. And breathe out all your effects of losses through your mouth. Continue breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Now recite after me, having your breath absolutely normal through your nose. I revive my losses. I recognize my losses. I realign my loss. I reorient my loss. I reposition my loss. I revive my loss. I recognize my loss. I realign my loss. I reorient my loss. I reposition my loss. I revive physical distancing. I recognize the physical distancing. I realign the physical distancing. I reorient the physical distancing. I reposition the physical distancing. I revive the pain. I recognize the pain. I realign the pain. I reorient the pain. I reposition the pain. I revive the helplessness. I recognize the helplessness. I realign the helplessness. I reorient the helplessness. I reposition the helplessness. I revive the emotional hurts. I recognize the emotional hurts. I realign the emotional hurts. I reorient the emotional hurts. I reposition the emotional hurts. We'll say this again. I revive my emotional hurts. I recognize my emotional hurts. I realign my emotional hurts. I reorient my emotional hurts. I reposition my emotional hurts. I revive my need to communicate and express. I recognize my need to communicate and express. I realign my need to communicate and express. I reorient my need to communicate and express. I reposition my need to communicate and express. I revive my need to honor my loss. I recognize my need to honor my loss. I realign my need to honor my loss. I reorient my need to honor my loss. I reposition my need to honor my loss. I revive the brilliance in the loss. I recognize the brilliance in the loss. I realign the brilliance in the loss. I reorient the brilliance in the loss. I reposition the brilliance in the loss. I revive the loser in me. I recognize the loser in me. I realign the loser in me. I reorient the loser in me. I reposition the loser in me. I revive the divine plan in the loss. I recognize the divine plan in the loss. I realign the divine plan in the loss. I reorient the divine plan in the loss. I reposition the divine plan in the loss. I revive my need to focus on the brilliance. I recognize my need to focus on the brilliance. I realign my need to focus on the brilliance. I reorient my need to focus on the brilliance. I reposition my need to focus on the brilliance. I revive my need to recognize the brilliance. I recognize my need to recognize the brilliance. I realign my need to recognize the brilliance. I reorient my need to recognize the brilliance. I reposition my need to recognize the brilliance. I see the loss. I feel the loss. I acknowledge the loss. I love and accept the loss. I honor the loss. I honor the brilliance in the loss. I am the loss, and the loss is me. I see the loss. I feel the loss. I acknowledge the loss. I love and accept the loss. I honor the loss. I honor the brilliance in the loss. I am the loss, and the loss is me. I see the loss. I feel the loss. I acknowledge the loss. I love and accept the loss. I honor the loss. I honor the brilliance in the loss. I am the loss, and the loss is me. Keep reciting. Share this recording with your friends and family members to help them cope up with their losses. Listen to this radical statements time and again, and stay tuned. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. India time. Thank you for joining.